Netherland is a novel penned by Irish author Joseph O'Neill, first published by Harper Perennial in 2008. The narrative revolves around Hans van den Broek, a Dutch financial analyst living in New York City, whose life undergoes profound transformation as his adopted homeland grapples with the seismic impact of the September 11 terrorist attacks. In recognition of its literary merits, Netherland was honored with both the P. Ian Faulkner Award for Fiction and the Carey Group Irish Fiction Award in 2009. The story unfolds as Hans reflects on his initial relocation from London to the bustling metropolis of New York City. What began as a temporary sojourn in the vibrant Big Apple extended into several years, and the passage of time has afforded Hans a unique perspective on his journey. Through a series of retrospectives, he narrates his life story, spanning from his early years in The Hague to his relationship with his mother, from his marriage to Rachel to the birth of their son, Jake. Amid these recollections, there is the enigmatic presence of Chuck Ramkissoon, whose life takes a tragic turn after Hans departs from New York. Hans's affection for cricket traces its origins back to his youth, a passion kindled following his father's untimely demise in a car accident. His mother, Miriam, with whom he shares a profound connection, faithfully attends all his cricket matches and joins him for ice skating during winter. However, as Hans matures into adulthood, he gradually drifts apart from Miriam. After completing his education, he embarks on a career at a London bank, where he encounters Rachel Bolton, with whom he soon enters into matrimony. In the late 1990s, they embark on a new chapter by relocating to New York City, where Rachel, an attorney, establishes her legal practice. Their family expands with the birth of Jake. Then, the fateful day arrives, September 11, 2001. The catastrophic collapse of the World Trade Center not only forces Hans and his family to vacate their downtown apartment but also shatters their sense of security and stability. Seeking refuge, they temporarily settle in the Chelsea Hotel while the city undergoes reconstruction. However, the emotional scars of 9/11 prove insurmountable, particularly for Rachel, who grapples with both the trauma of the attacks and the disintegration of her marriage. Eventually, she makes the painful decision to leave Hans, taking Jake with her as she departs New York. In the midst of his periodic visits to the UK to spend time with Jake, Hans discovers solace in the world of cricket once more. During one of his cricket matches, he crosses paths with an umpire named Chuck Ramkissoon. Soon thereafter, he has the chance to meet Chuck's companion, Eliza, and their paths cross once more by chance at a local bar a few weeks later. Chuck shares some insights into his background, revealing that he hails from Trinidad and is an immigrant striving for success as an entrepreneur. Among his ventures, Chuck runs a business specializing in kosher sushi. During this encounter, Hans and Chuck exchange business cards. As Hans encounters bureaucratic obstacles in his quest to obtain a U.S. driver's license due to documentation issues, he realizes his proximity to Chuck's office and decides to pay a visit. Inside, he encounters Eliza once more, and learns that she is Chuck's mistress, as Chuck is married to a woman named Anne. Thrilled by this unexpected reunion, Chuck takes Hans on a drive to an empty lot in Brooklyn, a space Chuck envisions transforming into a cricket field. Chuck harbors ambitious dreams of popularizing cricket among Americans. As Hans's marriage to Rachel reaches an irreparable breaking point, he increasingly seeks refuge in risky and reckless endeavors. He succumbs to temptation and has a brief liaison with a woman he meets at a bar. On another occasion, he accompanies Chuck to an event for New York's cricket enthusiasts, embarking on a night of revelry, alcohol, and partying. During this time, Hans also becomes acquainted with Mike Abelsky, Chuck's enigmatic business partner. Intrigued by Mike's peculiar behavior, Hans begins to view Chuck in a different light, harboring suspicions that Chuck might be involved in some questionable business practices. Chuck admits to running an illicit gambling operation, but Hans continues to spend time with him, relishing the camaraderie they share and their mutual passion for cricket. Meanwhile, Rachel enters into a romantic relationship with Martin Casey, a renowned celebrity chef. Hans meets Martin during one of his trips to the UK but remains unimpressed by him. Despite Rachel and Jake initially moving in with Martin, they eventually vacate his residence following their breakup. In New York, Hans and Chuck continue to maintain their friendship, although Hans begins to question whether Chuck's ambitious vision of popularizing cricket in America is genuinely attainable. However, Hans's perception of Chuck takes a darker turn when he witnesses Chuck and Mike assaulting a businessman. Troubled by these actions and realizing that Chuck's activities are becoming increasingly dubious, Hans decides it's best to distance himself from Chuck. Subsequently, Hans returns to the UK, where he and Rachel work on repairing their strained marriage. Hans takes the initiative to purchase a new home for their family in London, and together, they embark on a fresh start. Several years pass, during which Hans, Rachel, and their son rebuild their lives together. However, Hans receives an unexpected call one day, informing him that Chuck's lifeless body has been recovered from the Gowanus Canal. The police launch an investigation into the matter, and Hans makes inquiries of his own. Despite these efforts, the case eventually grows cold, and Hans is unable to attend Chuck's funeral, as he is unable to locate Eliza and Chuck's wife. Hans gradually comes to terms with the fact that he may never uncover the truth about the fate of his cricket-loving friend Chuck, choosing instead to remember him fondly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.